If you think certain words are forbidden in a healthy relationship, if you're walking on eggshells watching everything you say, pay very close attention, because what I'm about to tell you might completely change how you see communication and control. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're going deep into relationship psychology and the difference between healthy communication and emotional manipulation today. Here's what most people don't realize. There are no forbidden words in a healthy relationship. None. Zero. The idea that certain words are off limits isn't about protecting the relationship. It's about controlling you. Psychologically, when someone tells you there are words you can't say, they're not setting boundaries. They're limiting your ability to express yourself. And that limitation serves them, not the relationship. From a communication perspective, healthy relationships require honesty. Sometimes honesty is uncomfortable. Sometimes it involves words that create tension. But tension isn't the enemy. Silence is. Quick question: where in the world are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing where our community connects from across the globe. Behaviorally, this shows up in very specific ways. Your partner tells you that you can't use certain words because they're triggering. You can't say you're unhappy because it makes them feel like a failure. You can't say you need space because it sounds like you're leaving. You can't say you're hurt because it makes them defensive. So you start editing yourself. You choose softer words. You frame everything positively. You swallow your actual feelings and perform emotional management so they don't have to feel uncomfortable. Psychologically, this is called tone policing, and it's a manipulation tactic. It shifts the focus from what you're saying to how you're saying it. It makes your delivery the problem instead of addressing the actual issue you're raising. From a power dynamics perspective, the person who controls the language controls the conversation. If they can dictate what words are acceptable, they can prevent you from expressing things they don't want to hear. Let me paint you a picture. You're frustrated with something your partner did. You say, "I feel disrespected when you cancel plans last minute." They respond with, "Disrespected is such a strong word. You're being dramatic. Can't you just say you were disappointed?" So you adjust. You say, "I was disappointed." And they respond with, "Why are you always disappointed? Nothing I do is good enough for you." Now you're defending yourself against an accusation you weren't making. The original issue gets lost. This is what forbidden words look like in practice. It's not about the specific word. It's about preventing you from naming your experience accurately, because accurate naming creates accountability, and they don't want to be held accountable. Neurologically, when you're constantly monitoring your language, your prefrontal cortex is working overtime. You're not speaking authentically. You're calculating what's safe to say. This creates cognitive load and emotional exhaustion. Over time, you lose touch with what you actually think and feel because you're so focused on how to say it in a way that won't upset them. Your internal experience becomes secondary to their comfort. From a relationship health perspective, this is backwards. In healthy relationships, both people's comfort matters. You might adjust your tone to be respectful, but you don't have to sanitize your feelings to be heard. And if this is resonating, if you're recognizing this pattern in your relationship, type "me" in the comments. You need to know thousands of people are watching this who understand exactly what this feels like. Here's one of the most common forbidden words: the word need. Some partners cannot tolerate you expressing needs. When you say, "I need more quality time" or "I need emotional support," they hear it as criticism or demand. They respond with, "You're so needy," or "I can't meet all your needs, you're asking too much," or "Why do you always need something from me?" Psychologically, this is because they view your needs as threats to their autonomy. They can't distinguish between you having needs and you trying to control them. So they make all needs bad and you learn to stop expressing them. Behaviorally, this creates a relationship where only one person's needs matter. You become responsible for meeting their needs while suppressing your own. You become the giver and they become the taker. From an attachment theory perspective, this often happens when someone has an avoidant attachment style. They perceive all expressions of need as attempts to engulf them, so they create distance by making you feel bad for needing anything. Let me tell you about another forbidden word: the word angry. Some people cannot handle you being angry. They tell you that anger is ugly, destructive, toxic. They say things like, "I can't talk to you when you're angry," or "Call me when you've calmed down." This is emotional invalidation. Anger is a legitimate emotion. It tells you when your boundaries have been violated. It provides energy to protect yourself. When someone forbids your anger, they're forbidding your self-protection. Psychologically, this often serves to keep you compliant. If you can't express anger, you can't push back effectively. You can't set firm boundaries. You can't demand better treatment. You become easy to mistreat because your natural defense mechanism has been taken away. From a gender perspective, women are especially targeted with this. They're told that anger makes them irrational, hysterical, crazy. So they learn to suppress anger and express everything through sadness instead. This keeps them powerless. Behaviorally, when you're not allowed to be angry, you turn that anger inward. It becomes depression, anxiety, physical symptoms. Because anger doesn't disappear when you suppress it. It just finds other ways out. Here's another pattern. The word always or never. Your partner tells you that you can't use absolutes. You can't say you always do this or you never listen. They claim it's unfair, that absolutes are exaggerations. But here's the truth. Sometimes always and never are accurate. If someone always dismisses your feelings, that's a pattern worth naming. If they never apologize sincerely, that's a fact worth stating. Psychologically, forbidding absolutes is a way to avoid accountability for patterns. They can point to one exception and claim your observation is invalid. You said I never listen, but I listened last Tuesday, so you're wrong. From a gaslighting perspective, this prevents you from identifying patterns of behavior. You get stuck defending the specific word choice instead of addressing the broader issue. And that's exactly what they want. Let me tell you about the word deserve. Some partners cannot handle you saying I deserve better treatment or I deserve respect. They hear it as entitlement or arrogance. They might say nobody deserves anything, or you think you're so special, or you're not perfect either. They reframe your assertion of worth as an attack on them. Psychologically, this reveals their belief that you don't actually deserve good treatment. That good treatment is something you earn through perfect behavior, not something you're entitled to as a human being. From a self-worth perspective, this is devastating. Because if you internalize the idea that you don't deserve basic respect and kindness, you'll accept treatment that degrades you. And that's exactly what they need you to believe. Behaviorally, healthy partners want you to have high standards. They want you to know your worth. They want you to expect good treatment. Because they're planning to provide it. Here's another forbidden phrase. We need to talk. Some people react to this phrase with immediate defensiveness. They say, I hate when you say that. Or why do you always start problems? Or can't we just be happy? This is avoidance. They don't want to have difficult conversations. They want to pretend everything is fine. So they make you feel bad for trying to address issues. Psychologically, this prevents relationship maintenance. All relationships require periodic check-ins, course corrections, problem solving. When you can't initiate those conversations, problems compound until they become unfixable. From a conflict resolution perspective, the willingness to engage in difficult conversations is essential for relationship health. Someone who punishes you for trying to talk about problems is someone who's okay with those problems continuing. Let me tell you what happens when you accept forbidden words. You start speaking in code. You hint instead of stating. You imply instead of asking. You become indirect and unclear because direct communication has been made unsafe. This creates constant misunderstanding. They claim they didn't know you were upset because you never said so clearly. But you couldn't say so clearly because the words that would communicate clearly are forbidden. Psychologically, this is crazy making. You're blamed for not communicating while simultaneously being punished for communicating. You can't win. And that's the point. The confusion keeps you off balance and easier to control. From a manipulation perspective, forbidding certain words is about maintaining plausible deniability. If you can't name what's happening clearly, they can deny it's happening at all. Here's what healthy communication actually looks like. You can say I'm angry and your partner asks why instead of telling you to calm down. You can say I need something and your partner asks what instead of calling you needy. You can say you always do this and your partner considers whether it's true instead of attacking the word choice. Behaviorally, healthy partners might ask you to rephrase for clarity, but they don't forbid words. They don't police your language. They don't make you responsible for managing their emotional reactions to your honesty. Psychologically, they understand that your feelings are valid even when they're uncomfortable to hear, that your needs are legitimate even when they're inconvenient, that your perceptions matter even when they differ from theirs. From a respect perspective, healthy partners trust that you're using the words that most accurately describe your experience. They might disagree with your interpretation, but they don't invalidate your right to express it. Let me tell you about the forbidden question. Why? Some people cannot tolerate being asked why they did something. They hear it as accusation or judgment. They respond with, "Stop interrogating me," Or I don't have to explain myself to you. Or you're always analyzing everything. They make curiosity about their behavior into relationship crime. Psychologically, this is because they know their reasons won't hold up to scrutiny. If you understood why they did something, you'd see it was selfish or thoughtless or intentionally hurtful. So they forbid the question that would expose them. From an accountability perspective, why is essential? Understanding motivation helps you assess patterns. It helps you determine if behavior was accidental or intentional. It helps you decide what you're willing to tolerate. When someone forbids you from asking why, they're preventing you from making informed decisions about the relationship. They're keeping you in the dark so you can't accurately assess whether this relationship is good for you. Here's another forbidden phrase. I feel like you don't care. Some partners react to this with immediate anger. They list everything they've done for you. They accuse you of being ungrateful. They make your feeling into evidence of your defectiveness. But here's what they're missing. Feelings aren't accusations. Saying I feel uncared for isn't the same as saying you don't care. It's information about your internal experience. And in healthy relationships, that information is valuable. Psychologically, when someone responds to your feelings with defensiveness, they're centering themselves. They're making your emotional experience about their ego. They're more concerned with being seen as good than with understanding your actual state. From an empathy perspective, the healthy response to I feel uncared for is tell me more. What's making you feel that way? What would help, not an attack on you for having the feeling? Behaviorally, pay attention to how your partner responds when you express vulnerable feelings. Do they get curious or defensive? Do they move toward you or away? Do they validate or invalidate? This tells you everything about whether they can handle real intimacy. Let me tell you what's actually happening when words are forbidden. Your partner is more committed to their comfort than to your authenticity. They'd rather you be silent than honest if honesty makes them uncomfortable. This is incompatible with real relationship. Real relationship requires both people to be able to speak their truth, to name their experience, to express their needs, to set their boundaries. Psychologically, when you can't do these things, you're not in partnership. You're in a power imbalance where one person's feelings matter more than the others. From a long-term perspective, this pattern destroys relationships because resentment builds when you can't express yourself. Distance grows when you can't be authentic. Connection dies when you're performing instead of being real. Here's what you need to understand. If your partner tells you certain words are forbidden, they're telling you that your authentic expression is less important than their emotional comfort. That's not love. That's control. You have the right to use whatever words accurately describe your experience. You have the right to name your feelings, express your needs, identify patterns, ask questions, set boundaries. You have the right to honest communication. Behaviorally, if someone punishes you for using certain words, don't adjust your language. Adjust your expectations of the relationship, because someone who can't handle your honest communication can't handle real intimacy. Psychologically, their inability to tolerate certain words is their limitation, not yours. Don't make yourself smaller to fit their constraints. Don't edit yourself to maintain false peace. From a self-respect perspective, your authentic expression matters more than their comfort with it. You don't owe anyone a sanitized version of your truth. You deserve to be with someone who can handle all of you, including the parts that are angry, needy, hurt, or dissatisfied. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop asking what words are safe and start asking why you're not safe being honest. Stop adjusting your language and start evaluating whether this person can handle real relationship. Because in healthy relationship, there are no forbidden words. There's only honest communication met with genuine listening. There's only authentic expression met with real empathy. If someone came to mind while watching this, someone who's been told they can't say certain things in their relationship, share this video with them. They might need permission to stop editing themselves. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because we explore communication, manipulation, and healthy relationships on this channel. Drop a comment and tell me, what words have you been told you can't say in a relationship? What happened when you said them anyway? Your experience might help someone else find their voice.